Welcome to the In My Opinion Show with Ronald Bay Robinson and friends. Seen on the internet 24 hours, 7 days a week. To view, go to and type in capital letters RBRIMO on the internet to view our extensive programming. I want to welcome my talented co-host. We have Mrs. Denise Smith-Allen.
Hi, Ron.
Hi, Denise. And Mr. Henry Hatter.
Hi, Denise and Ron. I'd like to again say that today, thank you for letting us know that today is Breast Awareness Month, for the beginning of it at least for women. And I'd like to say that we here dedicate ourselves as an advocacy group for this endeavor so that women can find the dollars for research to eradicate this problem that causes distress to women all over the world.
Absolutely.
And I want to let you know that I dedicate these remarks to my wife Barbara, my mother Isabella, and my daughter.
And we dedicate this show to our millions of viewers worldwide as well. Let's talk about the government shutdown. On Thursday, October 17, 2013, the federal government reopened after a 16-day shutdown, during which time as many as 800,000 government employees were furloughed. In addition to the numerous hardships caused by the shutdown, economists and policy analysts agree that it cost the U.S. government and the national economy as much as $24 billion in lost economic output. Perhaps the biggest tragedy of this whole mess is that it could repeat itself in the very near future. Repeat. On Thursday, October 17, 2013, the federal government reopened after a 17-day shutdown, during which time as many as 800,000 government employees were furloughed. In addition to the numerous hardships caused by this shutdown, economists and policy analysts agree that it cost the U.S. government and the national economy as much as $24 billion and still counting in lost economic output. And while the final agreement which ended the shutdown also includes language to retroactively compensate federal employees for the shutdown period, private sector workers and contractors are not so fortunate. Perhaps the biggest tragedy of this whole mess is that it could repeat itself in the very near future. This shutdown was outrageous, in my opinion. Outrageous. And we send these idiots to Congress making in excess of $150,000 a year. Very few, from my understanding, gave back or refused to take pay for those days that the shutdown occurred. My question is this: who in the hell left the gate open? Millions of Americans have suffered and are suffering while these ineffective politicians in Washington acted like idiots. But yet most still received the tax-supported salaries ranging, again, about anywhere from $150,000 to $200,000 plus. This is America at its worst, in my opinion. Hopefully, the millions affected by the government shutdown will remember when re-election time comes and throw these bums out of office. Henry, what are your thoughts?
Well, I was hoping that Denise would go first, but I'll go anyway, Denise, and I'm sorry if I step on your toes, okay? Ron, you made a statement there that this is likely to occur soon.
Yes.
You're exactly right. I can promise you, we've kicked the can down the road. Mm-hmm. We have not solved the problem.
No.
The problem is that our government is broke. It cannot pay its bills. And under these circumstances, should our dollar collapse, just like that, all that you own, your pension, your Social Security, your banks, your bank savings, all of that will be evaporated just overnight. and you will end up with nothing. And then all Americans can say for once that we're all equal, because we will only have the shirts on our back that we can claim. And the government will recoil because it has such low rating, and it will have. And if you ever study nations that went through the same process where they had funding that collapses, it's like anarchy. And it's doubtful whether we could reestablish the country the way it was. It would change forever. And we don't want that to happen. I was pleased when the Republicans went to the end of the wire. And I don't agree with everything that the Republicans do, but this time I really did. They went to the end of the wire before we went over the cliff and held on to that position as a matter of principle, that we are broke. We need to stop our spending. We need to cut back on printing money. As I said, we print $550 billion a month just to pay our bills. We don't retire any debt. We supplement that, and yet the people in Washington will say, but it doesn't, if we raise the ceiling on the debt, it doesn't cost us anything. Know why? They've already spent the money. They're overspent. So that money is hidden. And that just builds up this tremendous barrier to becoming solvent. We can never find a way to solve this through that process. And one of these days, at least let me guess for you what is likely to happen in months ahead. They will cut Social Security. They will cut pensions. They will reduce the benefits in the Medicare, Medicaid. And they will call for euthanasia, which they've already done by legislation here, under the American Affordable Care Act, where if you're 75 years old, and those people out there who are looking at this, and who are parading and lauding what's going on, they need to think about they should never get to be 75 years old and have cancer. Because if you do, the government will restrict those benefits and will not serve you. So we need to think about that.
Where are you getting that information at?
It's coming out of the American Affordable Care Act.
Where it says specifically at age 75, and if you have cancer, that you're not going to be.
Would you like to have a?
Absolutely.
Okay, I will forward it. These are things that's why this is called the In My Opinion Show. We discuss all kind of nuances to legislation and to regulations and stuff like that.
Well,
we need to examine these.
Here's a question though, right now, aren't people pretty much restricted in terms of if they have no health insurance, whether they're going to get the kind of service anyway? Aren't they restricted anyway?
Are they restricted?
Yeah. They're pretty much denied.
Who is?
I'm talking about people, the average American, average American. Now you're talking about
if you take and partition people out into those who are middle class people who worked and paid into a pension fund, who saved their money, who invested their money. They're in a circumstance where they don't necessarily get what the 40 million people just got under the American Affordable Care Act, which now costs the United States $3 to $4 trillion to put those 40,000 people into healthcare systems. And of course, the American Affordable Care Act is good in some places. For example, existing conditions. Who wouldn't want existing conditions on the healthcare? It's a good one. Had they tweaked only Medicaid, Medicare, we wouldn't have this tremendous burden. Now the burden is on those people who have worked all of their lives, like the two of you, paid into these pension funds. Hang on.
You haven't worked?
Well, I have to preferably say you. I'm more concerned about you, because I'm going to look out for me.
Oh.
Well, so am I.
You guys can do whatever you want to do, but
every man for himself, God
the
for us all.
The man says that once you get 75, don't have cancer. well, I'm going to make sure that I protect my body, and you should be protect. Everybody should
be doing that anyway.
Everybody should be doing that anyway, but we don't.
We understand
We
that.
have risky behaviors, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Then when it comes down, and now we have these insurance exchanges, and people are going out buying insurance, right?
Right.
And they're investing in insurance, stuff like that, to try to provide health care for 330 million people. All will have some kind of health care. But it won't be the same health care necessarily that as you move from that one partition down to the other. It would be a graduation of deliveries and those services that you get under this healthcare model. And just to protect the integrity of those people who are in middle class, who have worked all of their lives and paid into an insurance program. Because if you destroy that part of their expectations, you're like to destroy the whole system. What we've done is robbed from these guys up here to bring these up.
Well, one thing that I don't understand, and how quickly we forget, all right?
Okay.
Who caused this monetary problem in the first place, all right? George Bush.
Oh,
right.
no, not that.
For 8 years, that idiot was in office, all right?
Okay.
He was the one that caused this problem. All these, actually it's trillions of dollars now that the taxpayers have had to spend, you know what I mean, in Afghanistan and Iraq and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, all right? Just envision if if America had not had to spend that kind of money, all right? We wouldn't be facing perhaps maybe some of these horrors that you speak about.
Ron, you're off the subject.
No,
I'm talking about.
It's the same thing, all right?
I
spent numerous
healthcare.
Exactly. All right,
Not George Bush.
But you're also talking about,
You're talking about
taking
now,
away Social
today.
Security. You're
that
talking
was
about
yesterday. That was then.
You're
This
talking
is now.
You're talking about other things, all right? Allegedly, that the government, has plans on taking, on taking from us, all right? I lived in Canada a number of years, all right? They have national health programs. European, some of those nations in Europe, all right? Sweden, Finland,
Denmark,
et cetera,
Finland.
has this, all right? They're not facing these kind of problems. And I think as far as Republicans are concerned, they're just pissed off, all right?
It's not a Republican matter. It's an American people's matter.
Okay, but here's my
argue.
question. Here's my question, because you made some very disparaging remarks about the Affordable Care Act.
Yeah, I did.
And in the interim, as Ron alluded to, there are other countries that have basically a program in place where all citizens are basically taken care of when there are matters of health. So what is wrong with what we have? What is wrong with what was...
But we don't have anything wrong with what we have. And
No.
I did say that for example, keeping kids on your insurance until they're 26 years old, that's good. Making sure that we take care of existing conditions, those are very, very good.
Very
Okay.
good. But
And
then
there are some others too.
But there, and certainly there are some others. But is there any perfect system out here? No. And is there any way in which what we have now that has been voted into law, can it not be, helped to be better? Yes. So,
Are you willing to pay for it?
I'm paying now. What are
No,
you
are
talking
you
about?
willing to take benefits from your assured package? This is what you're going to do. They're going to cut your benefits.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to take part of your Social Security and part of your retirement benefits and put into so they can pay for the Affordable Care Act.
They've been doing
And
that
that's-
all along.
Well, it hasn't happened yet.
Sure it has. Every time you get paid.
Yeah. Well, maybe in
All right.
Michigan we have, but you haven't seen the brunt of this yet. And I hope that let's talk about it in 6 months.
But so many people are throwing all this fear theory out
No,
there.
it's not
you
a
know
fear
what I mean?
theory.
Of course it is. I mean,
No.
I understand, Mr. Republican.
No, it's
all
not.
right?
We're going to
Okay.
kick the can down the road. You said yourself that we're going to review this. When we
Well,
review
perhaps
this
maybe
again,
we are, but
they will cut into your pension and Social Security.
Okay, but maybe we will revisit, and I'm sure we probably will, but the outcome is probably
And
going
who
to be
is
pretty
that?
much the same. Millions of people are getting the health care that they need. How can you deny 50 million people plus? How can you consciously and morally deny people? All
Ron,
right?
I submit to you, these people were getting health care under Medicaid, Medicare, which was formerly the government's insurance program. Hang on.
all.
Name the ones that were not getting it.
The people that probably didn't qualify for Medicare.
And who were
Medicaid.
those? Basically women.
Uh-oh.
Those were women. Women who were in the ages of maybe 25 to 63. Okay? They were too young to get Medicare, too old to get Medicaid. Okay? And yet had no children.
So you're just going to
Now,
throw
see,
them out
hold it out.
like
You
garbage?
get the
Okay.
point. You get the point. They had no children. Anytime you have children, you can you're on a government program. Then you have to have those children. But these were these are people that were left behind, and nobody paid any attention until somebody said, it's the women that's falling through the cracks. And this Medicaid and Medicare was a safety net. Well, it wasn't a safety net for everybody else except these women.
Okay.
And there may have been a few others.
But again, you made some really, to
Good
me,
remarks.
some damaging
Good.
comments because, like
Okay.
I said, now you just talked about these women who were left out, so the system wasn't perfect to begin with.
No, I
And
didn't
so-
say it was perfect.
Yeah, but what you're saying is there's a problem with something that was voted into law to help, as you said, bring some people up that were left out, and there's something wrong with that. I don't see it. I don't see it.
You run the risk of completely dismantling the political system in the United States.
Well, hell, it's dismantled
Which
already.
is based on finance and on institutions that protect people in certain categories.
The haves and the have-nots. Those
you-
are the categories.
Maybe you can call it that.
The 99%.
Look at it. People who, like yourself, you have great insurance. Ron has great insurance because he's on the state's dole.
And I paid for every penny.
and
I'm
I
a
was
state
on for every
employee.
penny of that
I'm a
insurance.
state employee, and I'm
Yeah,
just hanging
that's right.
in there.
No,
I'm
you
just
guys
hanging
are
in
you
there.
guys are on the dole. You guys are on the
We're
state
not on no
place.
dole. I work.
You're
I
just
paid
like
for
a politician.
I paid for every
What's the
penny,
difference?
risking my life every day going into that
What is the
institution.
difference between you and an elected congressman? You're on a dole. You're taking taxpayers' money as part of your income. It's a bottomless pit, right? The rest of us who work for manufacturing and created a product and provided a service for the rest of the world, made money for the country and kept the standard of living here.
And treated
we
your
get-
employees like
Yeah,
crap until they
yeah.
got unionized.
Yeah,
And
and
the
then-
ones that were doing the work.
And then they took our insurance. And then, never mind. Go ahead.
Oh yeah.
Well, they've taken mine. They've taken a nice portion of my pension too. With that governor up there in the state capitol.
But you guys, you and the governor are on the same track because you're drawing out of this pool of money that the public pays for to support you.
You're not
And
supporting
the
us. We
skillet should
work.
not. The skillet should not call the pot.
You need to quit that, Henry, because we work.
Are you collecting a pension?
Yes.
Well, then you're in the same boat that we
Well,
are.
no, I collect not because I work for a living.
So did we. So did
to
I.
support 15 public employees who are on the dole.
Oh, Henry, you
That's
need
right.
to, you need to quit.
15 of them. That's what each person. Ask anybody how many. When manufacturing was king here, ask how many people that these folks supported per capita, and it was about 15 people. Now industry is all gone, and so now you got just a small regiment of people still working, producing a product and a service that have to support 30. And they don't even make the money to do that. You can see that we're a nation in decline. We're becoming poor. We have to decide to do something else. We got to learn how to pay our bills. We got to make sure that we can maintain confidence and stability in our monetary supply. This is what we want to do. It benefits us all. Because once we lose that, we become enemies.
When you say we become enemies,
We
you
become enemies.
Who? Are you talking about me and you become
Yeah,
enemies?
we become.
How is that?
Well, if you simply have to fight over the money that's left, over the resources that are left, it's the survival of the fittest.
Well, that's where we are right now.
No, we're not there.
Oh, but
No,
we
we're
are.
not there.
Oh, but we are.
Well, that's a perspective that you have, and I submit to you that you have a right to that perspective. But you have not seen anything yet, and we don't want to go there either.
Okay.
Those are dangerous positions for the United States to be shaking on. We need to maintain a stable and secure country, and we can do that despite of all of the racial problems and all the other problems and disparity problems. We all benefit when the country is stable.
That's true. That's true. But,
Thank you.
You know, corporate greed got us here.
Well, that corporate greed has met its Waterloo too. You know,
That's what?
it's met its Waterloo.
Yeah. But I say to you that everybody in this country deserves affordable, accessible health care.
That's when we were rich.
They need it.
Denise,
There's too
there
many
was a
people that are
time-
dying because they're not getting adequate care. Now, I believe that there should be some prevention, and I think that there should be some education for people to learn how to take care of themselves better and to stop dealing with the risky behaviors. I agree with that portion of it, but there are people who are born with no other reason, whether they just happen to be one who came here with some afflictions. And so those persons should not be denied. They should need care.
I agree with you.
They need care.
I agree with you 100%.
They need care.
Now, for example, if I could say this, just to illustrate my point. Now, consider the money that's spent to feed people, for example, and care for them. Let's take the school district. That's a simple one to do. There's the federal grants that go to schools to provide a free and reduced lunch, okay? Have you ever been in the classroom lately? Have you ever seen the waste? Millions of dollars go to waste a month in that program. Tremendous amounts of waste. While we go out and say, oh, the poor people. And what kind of message do we send to this next generation by allowing them to waste the food stuff and the lights and tools, pencils, books, and stuff like that out of the classroom? What are we teaching this next generation as they get ready to lead this country? More waste, more graft, more self-sufficiency, and not for the survival of the entire culture.
Okay, well, I submit to you that if a person is receiving a reduced lunch or a free lunch, and their lunch is tasting like cardboard,
It is lunch.
Yeah, it's you know, and if you're hungry enough, you probably will eat cardboard.
Well, I've eaten the lunches, so I don't find anything.
I don't know. So
but
that stuff
the other thing,
it's not good. It's not all that healthy.
But look, the lunch is based on nutrition, okay? And kids would like to have candy bars. They want potato chips. They want nachos and stuff like that. Those are snack foods. They don't benefit the kids in any way other than to become more obese, which causes more and more health problems. You got to get Obama over here to help out the kids who are now too obese. They have high blood pressure. They have a hardening of the arteries.
Well, somebody had to take initiative.
Now you're moving away from that point.
To get that stuff out of schools.
Huh?
Somebody had to take the initiative to get that, that stuff out of schools.
You mean it should be taken out of school?
That garbage that's not healthy. Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Well, we're on the same page. Okay.
Let me just say this, in the same vein that what we're talking about. Okay. In a sense, more stupidity. Congressman Ted Cruz, along with others, and Tea Party zealots protested by wearing Confederate flags, and carrying Quran Bibles down Pennsylvania Avenue, past the White House. Is this what the taxpayers of the U.S. are paying for? Because certain groups are trying to dismantle the Affordable Health Care Act? That extends to insurance companies. Again, over 50 million Americans do not have adequate or actually no insurance coverage. But the point being is this what we pay Cruz and the rest of the boys, you know what I mean, 180,000 plus, to march down Pennsylvania Avenue, all right, wearing Confederate flags, okay, and carrying the Quran, Bible? I mean, that's an affront to our president, in my opinion. Okay?
And it's an affront to the American people.
Exactly. Okay? So you voters, remember this when you go to the polls. Whenever you go to the polls, remember those names, all right? There's a bunch of them.
Their voting behavior won't change.
Well, let's hope American voters smarten up.
Well, the audience, I doubt whether in this audience they'll change.
Well, I think they will. They just need to know, what's going on.
I agree with you on carrying the Bible stuff.
Within our government. This has been a great conversation, but unfortunately, again, we must bring the In My Opinion show to a close. But I want to thank our technical staff and Mrs. Denise Smith-Allen and Mr. Henry
I
Haddon.
don't believe it.
All right. And you, our viewing audience. This is Ronald Bader Robinson and friends saying until next time, stay focused.